Mhm.
We're starting Facebook Live. All right, welcome everyone to another open office district growth with Superintendent Shauna Murphy. We're so glad you can join us today. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's an hour of open office with our superintendent and the ability for you to ask questions about the new growth plan. So to do that, you can do that in a few ways. One, we're going to share the link to Zoom here in just a moment where you can join us and you can actually come on cam and have a discussion with the superintendent. You can leave a chat in the Zoom chat window. You can raise your hand by clicking the hand icon. And if you're on Facebook, you can leave comments in the chat or in the comment section, and we will share them with the superintendent. And as we go along, we'll be answering your questions. Superintendent, good day. How are you?
A good day. It's a good day. It's a good day. It's a beautiful Monday. Rob, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you getting this all started and together. I appreciate our communications team for helping to monitor the chats, the Facebook, everything. Technology could not do this without you. And thankful for the people who are joining in.
Perfect. And they'll be jumping in and out throughout. So don't feel free as you jump in and out we'll share how to chat throughout this session. We have Joe in the background today helping us out. So thanks, Joe, for that. We appreciate it. So, Superintendent, you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let's first talk a little bit about what phase two is and why the district is looking to go in this direction.
Oh, thank you for that very important question. That is why we're doing what we are doing. I'm actually going to back up to what I'll consider a pre-phase one piece. In pre-phase one, there were building projects that were done that included Pleasant Ridge, Montessori, Hyde Park School, and Walnut Hills High School. So then we moved into phase one of our district performance design sustainability piece because when we were working on the school budget for this current school year, trying to close the gap was about $32 million that we needed to balance and get resolution on. And so as I reviewed every department's budget and every schoolhouse budget, it really got me to think and pay closer attention to the work our school board had been doing over the previous 18 plus months. And some of that work even preceded what is known as the ad hoc committee. It is pieces of conversation that have taken place over time, not only in ad hoc, but prior to the time of ad hoc, which led us to the need to have such a group come together. I then decided that we would need to begin to try to save money and to look at the efficiencies of our school so that we can have better instructional outcomes. And so in phase one, we included Riverview East, Spencer Academy, the Odell Owens Center for Learning, the Promise Center, Schroeder High School. And from Schroeder High School, we created our first junior high, Schroeder Junior High School, which sits in the Madison building, which previously had Odell Owens Center for Learning and the Lighthouse School. We knew at that time that was not going to quite be enough work to do. And so we were going to have to move forward. We were going to need to do more in order to ensure that we didn't have such a severe and significant budget gap and that we begin to move out of financial crisis for our school district. And so with that, over the last several months, we have begun to create what is called and what is being proposed as phase two. And in phase two, it involves multiple schools and multiple areas of our city. I would start at a high level and say that the ad hoc committee suggested, recommended, asked administration to work on creating a corridor system for our district. And by corridors, I mean that there would be a grouping of schools on the west side of town, central to our town, and on the east side of town. The corridor system would allow us to create programming that if it happened on the east, it could also happen on the west and vice versa. One example of that is on the west side at Dater High School. We have our International Baccalaureate program. Also at Roberts Elementary School. Well, we didn't have any International Baccalaureate programs on the east side of town, and so we began to do work and engagement around International Baccalaureate at the schoolhouse levels to see what interests we had at the current standing elementary schools and high schools. And so at this point in this phase 2 recommendation is such a recommendation. The same is true on the east side of town. We have early college program at Schroeder High School, and we wondered what we could do to get that same programming on the west side of town. So we're trying to not only create a corridor system for our district, we are also trying to lay the footprint so that we can create more seats for our programming that is in demand. We're also trying to look at the building capacities, the enrollment, the utilization of our schoolhouses. We have several elementary schools that right now cost us more to run than our high schools. Our high schools are very large buildings with lots of children in them, grades 7 through 12 for the most part. Of course, we do have a couple of K-8 buildings. We do have a few pre-K 12 buildings, and then we have one 3rd grade through 12th grade building at Spencer. So we're really working hard in this plan, trying to create ways that we can provide additional programming. We can create systems where we value neighborhoods and children can go to school closer to their neighborhood, that parents won't have as much of a hardship with traveling across the district or at high distances in order to get their children to and from school. So that's a very high level of the work that we're doing in phase 2. There are a lot more details, so I'll pause and see if there are any questions before we continue on.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. We appreciate that high-level overview as well. So as we have more people jumping on Facebook, we want to remind you that you can comment your questions. This is Open Office District Growth with Superintendent Shauna Murphy. And if you have any questions on Facebook, please feel free. We also have some individuals on Zoom as well to put your questions in the comment section, and we will share them with the superintendent, and we will ask them right here. We are focused on the district growth plan, but we have had other questions as well for the superintendent, and she has taken those as well. So please feel free to use this time for you. So we'd love to have you join us. Superintendent, while we're doing this, can you tell us a little bit about how phase 2 will affect transportation and what we're hoping that does?
Great question. So transportation is one, very expensive for our school district. Not only do we transport to and from school the children of Cincinnati Public Schools, but also charter schools, parochial schools. So it's a very expensive endeavor. We're thinking about this corridor model such that, as I mentioned before, that families, children can stay within their corridor. We do believe that that will shore up expenses around transportation and efficiencies because it will eliminate the need for children to be transported across our school district as we have in the past, and we still do this year. In addition to that, we have a school that has 2 arrival times and has a tiered system of yellow bus that comes at different times in the morning and after school. We think that if we're able to implement this plan, we would alleviate some of that and there would be a really nice savings on the cost of our transportation. We're also looking at where we have specialized classrooms or units is what we affectionately call them across our district. And we're looking at whether or not we can align them a little better so that they're closely related to neighborhoods. We believe those things will help us with the cost of transportation.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. And we know that that transportation, I mean, at one point before COVID was around 20,000. Now it's around 20 million. Now it's around 50 million. So
Very
trying to cut those
expensive.
costs, right? Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Thank you very much. Superintendent, can you explain to us a little bit? So the lottery is happening. It is in full swing. How will the decisions, well, let's actually first talk about decision making. Have decisions been made and how is that process going?
First of all, yeah, phase two, thank you for that. Is really a proposal that is given to the board at this time. We have been doing community engagement, getting feedback from board members, feedback from the community before we move forward. We'll continue to do that until we get to the point where we're able to give a response.
And so, thank you, Superintendent. So, if a decision's made and as we move forward, how will this affect the lottery that's both happening now and how will it affect it in the future?
Thank you, Rob. So we're doing the lottery, but the lottery stays open through December. And if there should be a decision made prior to December, then we will move forward in that direction and make some pivots and some edits. Until then, it's status quo.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Superintendent. By the way, we have a shout out from the Urban League of Greater Southwest Ohio. They say good morning, CPS. So they're on the line and watching. So
Good morning. The Urban League is a great friend of Cincinnati Public Schools, especially fond of them for their work, in particular with Woodward Career Technical High School. Looking forward to continued partnership with the Urban League. Appreciate
perfect. And
their leadership and Mrs. Christy Coons as well.
perfect. And we do have some Facebook questions coming in. So let me pull those over. If while I'm doing that, we are doing that, if you want to have a question for Superintendent Shauna Murphy, leave it in the comments for us and we would be happy to share it with her. Our first question off Facebook at this moment is, my son has been at Parker since pre-K. He is autistic and the change is hard for him. He loves his school. Even though he is not in the neighborhood, we don't mind commuting the distance. Is there a chance to stay if I'm transporting?
Is this at what school? Parker?
This is at Parker. Yep, pre-K. Since pre-K, he's been there since pre-K.
At
Yep.
Parker Woods Montessori or John P. Parker? I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
Woods
That's a good
Montessori
question.
or
And if
John
that
P.
individual wants to,
Parker?
yeah, so all it is Parker. That's all we have. So hopefully that individual
So,
will clarify.
so if it's John P. Parker, there is not a plan for that school at this time. If it is Parker Woods Montessori, the piece that we're trying to do is make sure every sixth grader on the west side has a seat at Gamble Montessori High School. So for the younger grades, there's no change being suggested at this time. So if that person is able to clarify, I'm happy to try to say more or point to the right direction.
Thank you, Superintendent, and we will wait for a little bit of follow-up for that, but thank you. But if they're transporting their student, they can continue to enroll, or I
Yes,
think
at
that's
this
part of
time
it.
we have, yes, there are absolutely no changes at this point for either of those two schools, except for rising sixth graders at Parker Woods Montessori.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Our next question is, I'm overall, my kids all need ED choice vouchers ASAP. I applied too many times. I'm over it. Um, it looks like just a comment. Yeah.
Okay, appreciate that comment. Choice voucher work goes through the state and not Cincinnati Public Schools. I'm sorry.
So
Not
yeah,
really able to help with that one.
yeah. And if they want to clarify or we're not getting the answer, they are enough information, feel free to continue to comment in the chat and we'd be happy to help. There is some clarification. It's fifth grade at John P. Parker, that student. Is that John P. Parker?
Sure. So right now, fifth grade, John P. Parker, there is no plan for any change. Sixth grade at John P. Parker at this time, if you're for your child rising for next year, they are not a part of the phase two plan at this time.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Superintendent, let's talk a little bit about the wrap.
Yeah, let's talk about the wrap. Yeah, so we have a pretty significant group of children experiencing homelessness. And it seems to be increasing year after year. So we do have a group called Project Connect, and that group is led by Rebecca Beach. She manages that team. And the purpose of the team is to provide services for young people experiencing homelessness. So make sure they're able to continue to go to school without any disruption in education. And sometimes they need things like transportation, clothing, shoes, book bags, school supplies. And so we want to expand those services and plan to do that next year, wraparound services being called the WRAP.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. And we'll talk a little bit later maybe about how people can participate and donate and be a part of that wonderful program as well. I got a pretty long one here I'm going to read for you. A comment from Bill Collins. I'm excited about the renaming of Bramble School to the Bramble Nature Campus. The potential to expand outdoor and nature-based schooling is tremendous at Bramble. There are also multiple other CPS campuses that are also located in similar topographies near streams and/or abating significant woodlands. This gives CPS an opportunity that it's unique among all the school districts in Cincinnati area to create a network of magnet and/or neighborhood schools that can offer nature-based curricula innovation. An effort similar to the 4,000 student Montessori program that can attract the next generation of CPS parents and suburban parents to the district schools. The other buildings that are located in the attractive locations for nature-based schooling include Woodford, Roselawn, AWL, Parker Woods, Marion Spencer, Euler. Let's pursue this opportunity. This is available to the families because of the attractive locations of so many of our campuses. So, Bill, thanks for that. Superintendent, you want to comment anyway?
Yeah, we opened that school last year under the previous administration and are very proud. We're scheduled to visit very soon.
And thank you for that feedback, Mr. Collins. We appreciate it. All right, we're going to keep moving forward. Superintendent, I hear there are wonderful things happening at the Zoo Academy. Can you talk a little bit about what's happening at the Zoo Academy and how people who are interested now that it's opening up can enroll?
Yeah, so the Zoo Academy is preparing to celebrate 50 years in existence. Unbelievable. And over time, there have been more and more students interested in enrolling in the Zoo Academy. Traditionally, it has been for Hughes STEM high school students only. Well, what we have done is create a situation where we can expand it such that it is open to school students across our school district and not limited to simply our Hughes high school students. So if you're a student at Withrow and you're interested in the Zoo Academy in the past, you'd have to go and apply and enroll at Hughes. Moving forward, you will not have to do that. There will be a certain number of seats available for students, young people across the district who are interested in the Zoo Academy. Very proud of that program. Some people have asked, where is the Zoo Academy located? It is located at our Cincinnati Zoo, which is an award-winning zoo, and we're proud to be able to have our students there learning every day.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. It's super exciting that, more students in the district will have this wonderful opportunity. And if you haven't been over to see the Zoo Academy, it's awesome, by the way. All right, we're going to move right along. We have our next question on Facebook. Will there be a decision made about Clark at tonight's meeting?
Okay, so I can never say what the board members will make decisions about. They set their agenda, they set the meeting, and I report out to them. Whether they will have a vote or not, I am unable to say. Which, as I know the question is particularly about Clark, but even overall as a whole, I just am not able to share. I don't know what the board will do or when they may do it.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. And a follow-up question from the last meeting, it looks like. What guarantee do you have that the students that are being moved to Woodford Academy will have their spots back at Clark High School?
That is the plan. The rationale is those 7th and 8th graders would be the children who would move to Clark. So just as the plan is that the 6th graders on the east side, so Sands, North Avondale Montessori, Pleasant Ridge Montessori, the rising 6th graders to 7th graders, the plan is that they would go to the new building in Kennedy Heights, and they would matriculate to the high school. The same is true on the west side of town. The 6th graders at Parker Woods, at Dater, at Gamble Elementary School, the plan is for them to all be able to matriculate through, get to Gamble High School as high school students, and continue their Montessori experience. So that is the plan that is being presented and proposed to the school board.
And part of the phase two plan is for those schools is to increase seats, correct? You want to talk a little on that?
Oh, yeah, thank you, Rob. So the whole idea is that over the years, we've not had enough seats available to the students to be able to give every student who wanted a seat in a high school Montessori that option. Now, I know that there has been talk, and it's even in the ad hoc plan to look at building a new Montessori high school. The problem with that now is our school district simply can't afford a new building project at this time. So, in an effort to be able to give children and their families the type of education that they desire in this instance at those three West Side and East Side Montessori schools I mentioned, the idea is to increase, how can we then increase the footprint so that we can meet the demand? And this is one way that we can meet the demand.
Superintendent, thank you so much. I'm going to repeat the instructions on how you can participate. There are a few ways to do that today. You can leave your questions in the comments on Facebook. We did share a link on Facebook as well. If you want to join the Zoom, come over, have an one-on-one conversation. We'll invite you in. This is open office hours, district growth with Superintendent Shauna Murphy, and that's exactly what it sounds. It's an opportunity for to ask questions. We're taking questions right off of Facebook. We're taking questions right off of Zoom and just sharing them with the superintendent in this open office format. So thank you, Superintendent, first off, for doing this. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate
And
everybody being on the call. We appreciate the support of our internal team, you, Rob, and our communications team. Definitely could not do it without you, and certainly could not do it without the public, those who are taking time out the middle of their day to be able to join us today and listen and hear the questions and give us feedback. And even your questions are truly food for thought as we move forward with this work.
thank you so much. Quick shout out, by the way, Jennifer Myrie from the Cincinnati NAACP says, thanks for hosting these events. So a shout out from the
Hi,
NAACP.
Ms. Myrie. Great to host the events. Really appreciate you being on and are interested in whatever feedback you may have to share with us. Thank you for your support.
All right, on to our next question. Basically, if they take the middle school students out of high schools, how will this affect marching band? Most high schools consist of a lot of middle school students, so maybe extracurriculars over our marching band, things of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a district equity policy, which our board has said many, many years ago that students ought to be able to have exactly what they need to be successful. So if there is a desire for middle school marching band, then we will work with whomever that principal might be, that instructional leadership team, that local school decision-making committee, the teacher leaders in the building, to ensure that the young people have exactly what they need to be successful. I know that when we created the Schroeder Junior High this year, for example, there was still collaboration between the two principals, Principal Battle at the junior high and Principal Neal at the high school. The expectation is that those collaborations would continue, and I do not see that there would be a need to be concerned about a gap in any of the extracurriculars that those young people may desire.
Thank you so much, Superintendent. We appreciate that. All right, we're going to continue right along here. We are almost to the half an hour mark of this open office, and we see more people jumping on, so it must be the second half of lunch, right?
Sounds good to me.
Um, Go ahead.
No, sounds good. Thank you, Rob.
All right. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for the clarification. Shauna Murphy, my son loves his school, John P. Parker. He is looking forward to his trip to Canada this year in May and his sixth grade year. So just a little
Love
feedback.
it. Yes, thank you for joining us today.
All right, and then we are going to, Superintendent, while we're pulling up our next question, do you want to talk a little bit about the career-based and career tech and how that is affected in phase two?
So I am particularly affectionate about current technical education, and I do believe that it is a huge part of our future. Some years ago, under the My Tomorrow administration with former Superintendent Mitchell, we began talking a little more deeply about what was affectionately known as 3 E's. enrolling into college, enlisting into the military, and employment, being gainfully employed immediately upon graduation. And over the years, there have been people who have wanted us to add entrepreneurship as well. So speaking of entrepreneurship, some of the areas that young people have asked us to be able to bring to our school district include additional career and technical education programming. So phase 2 and 3 include us taking a look at our ability to bring on entrepreneurship for our young people. Cosmetology has been a big request over the years, along with automotive. Some of you may remember in the past, our district did do more of those types of programs. The state has changed over time. So, for example, when I was in high school, it was known as vocational education. And so we may hear people say, well, what happened to vocational ed or voc ed in Cincinnati Public Schools? In our state, in Ohio, it is known as career and technical education. In our school district, all of our high schools have some type of career technical education programming. Some have more than others. So what we would like to do through phase 2 and 3, the implementation in phase 3 for this piece would be to add a footprint of automotive, entrepreneurship, and cosmetology. On the military side of things, I'll just go ahead and throw that out there. Last year, we started a junior ROTC program at Aiken High School in Army. And that has expanded this year to have 2 instructors. So that program is growing. And we have families, we have children also asking us for more junior ROTC opportunities. So phase 2 includes a proposal to add that to a West Side school. So we are looking at, and not finalized yet, of course, but we are looking at either a Navy or a Coast Guard possibility for our West Side of town. So very excited about career and technical education possibilities and extended military possibilities. I also want to share for our middle schools and junior highs, we are looking at adding a career and technical education component in those new buildings as well. Principal Battle is in conversation right now with our career and technical education manager, Mike Turner, about that introductory career and tech ed program at our new middle school, Schroeder Junior High. And we want to be able to do the same offerings for the new junior highs and middle schools that we are looking to open for next school year.
Thank you so much, Superintendent, for sharing that. We're excited to see what's to come in the career tech space. Our next question, the growth plan would cost around 250 million. What expenses in a change like this would cost the district money? Maybe talk a little bit about the cost of the growth plan.
So, yeah, I'm not sure where the $250 million for phase 2, if that's what we're talking about. I'm not at all sure where that came from. I do believe that tonight, I know that tonight at the Board of Education meeting, there will be more conversation about the finances of this plan. Phase 2 will not cost this amount of money. I will tell you that in addition to, someone mentioned earlier, expanding Montessori, creating a new Montessori high school, there's a little bit of interest in building and construction projects. I believe that's where the $250 million price tag is coming from, but I don't want to misspeak about someone's understanding of this. We do have posted on the board documents, and it's been posted since Wednesday, our proposed cost, projected cost, just of phase 2. And I think during public discussion tonight, you'll see and you'll hear that that is very different from that figure that was thrown out at some point.
Thank you so much for that clarification. And that's part of the goal of the open office, is to share information that may be out there that that people have been sharing around the water cooler, and kind of clearing some of that up, right?
That's correct. And we're happy to do that. We're excited to do that. And anything that needs to be clarified or followed up on, or any suggestion that you have, this is still a project that has not been voted on. It is not full steam ahead at this point, and so we are still listening and looking for responses from the public, responses from our families, and we encourage that at this time is one of those many examples.
Perfect. We do have another. First off, Jennifer Myrie asked us to share the engagement schedule, which we were planning to do anyway during this session. So we have. So if you're looking for future engagement sessions, the ones that are out in the community, please refer to that link. We shared it on Facebook for all those watching. If you'd like to participate in this event, Open Office District Growth with Superintendent Shauna Murphy, you can share your questions in the chat on Facebook. We're sharing them with her here live. You can join us here on Zoom. The link has also been shared on Facebook. And you can have a back and forth with the superintendent. It's open for you to ask questions, and it's focused around the district growth plan. But if you have another question that we can help with, the superintendent's taking those as well. So we're going to keep on moving here. All right, it slid. Shauna, great job being straightforward and positive and honest with your answers. Thank you for restoring positive climate in the district. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you kindly. I am just so blessed to be here to be able to do this work. We have an amazing team here in Cincinnati Public Schools. I have been able to be blessed to wear many hats in this district, from assistant principal to elementary principal, high school principal, neighborhood principal, magnet school administrator, years now at central office, and years in this role as an assistant superintendent, the chief of student, family, and community engagement. And now I'm honored to serve this school district, this community, as the interim superintendent, and have taken on this challenge and have a great team rallying around being able to go and do this work. A lot of great ideas, excuse me, great ideas at the table that we really want to massage. We really want to create a school district that works for our community. So I am grateful to have the opportunity to serve. I also will go ahead and say a word about the engagement. So we've been out, either myself or Assistant Superintendent John Chambers, just about every night, just about. And I will just add while we're on the call now, yesterday we had a Sundays with Shauna over at Frederick Douglass Elementary School. Now the Sundays with Shauna, we started before this engagement work around the growth plan. Those were just casual conversations. I get to meet people, people get to meet me and some other members of our team. Very casual, no agenda at all. But yesterday there were some families who wanted questions answered about the growth plan. We were happy to do that. So we have scheduled more Sundays with Shauna. You'll see those posted on our website. And for those of you who do social media, out in social media, but we have a December date scheduled that will be shared, and January and February as well. Again, that is a very casual, get to know you, come out, have a scoop of ice cream with us, and we get to know one another. In addition to that, we are taking this Wednesday's district-wide LSDMC meeting, and we've asked Mr. Badgett, who is our Director of School and Community Partnerships and leads the work around our local school decision-making committees, to repurpose that meeting. And we are going to dedicate the entire meeting to Growth Plan Phase 2. So you know that our LSDMC meetings are open to the public. And so if that's something that people either want to come here to Barnett Avenue at the Education Center and join us at 6 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday, 6 o'clock Wednesday, or there will be a link, a virtual link that you can join and listen in and have opportunity to ask questions at that time as well. So we appreciate everybody who's jumping on here today during their lunch hour, in the middle of their workday, or stepping away from the important things that you do to join us, to help us continue to think through this growth plan for our school district. Our city is projected to continue growing. We want and expect to continue growing. And we want to be able to provide the types of programming and services to all of our families to the extent that we can. And we do believe that there are some things that we can do a little bit more efficiently than we have been doing. Nothing wrong with what we've been doing, but we do know that our district has changed over the last several years. Our families are asking for different things. They're asking for more particular things. And this plan is a plan we believe can meet everybody's need to help move our district forward in terms of continuing to grow, to be sustainable, to be efficient, and then instructionally to be high performing.
First off, thank you, Superintendent, for that. We greatly appreciate it, and your transparency and honesty. It definitely, is very genuine. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We do have someone raising their hand, so we're going to bring them right over. While we get them situated and bring them over, can you talk a little bit about? We kind of skimmed on this, and I know you're going to talk about it tonight, but some of the budget and financial reasons we are looking at phase two, and the benefits.
Yes, I'm happy to do that. When we started the work in May, day one was work on closing the budget gap so we can get school open with a balanced budget, with our gap closed. It was hard. It was really, really hard. We had to make some tough decisions. Imagine your budget. Imagine having to reduce your household budget by $500, by $100. Imagine the price of when you go to the grocery store. Things have changed. Inflation is hard. Finding the right workforce in some areas is extremely challenging. And so we really had to dig deep, look carefully at our budget. And I will tell you, the only reason we were successful in closing that gap is because of a collaborative effort with all of our union presidents. So we had senior leadership, administration at the table, but we also knew because of the tough changes and decisions that needed to be made, we were going to have our leadership, our senior leadership, and our union leaders at the table. And that is how we approached it. And that is the only way we were able to close that gap. There are things coming our way that continue to make it challenging for us. Some of you are very familiar with, we've talked about ESSER dollars over the years. We had ESSER dollars up until the close of just this past school year, fiscal year 24. We no longer have those ESSER dollars moving forward. And so we have to be able to work efficiently. We have to work smartly. We have to work differently. And so my team and I want to dig in. We want to do this work. We believe that we have ideas around how to do this work, but we're human and we do need the support of our community. And we do need to hear from our community to make sure we're making the right and the best decisions for our young people. And we know that it's not just what we teach our kids day to day while they're with us pre-K to 12. We know when it comes to measuring what matters after they graduate is a big deal. That is when we truly know if we've done our work. That is when we truly know if our young people are prepared. And so we want to put as many things in place as we possibly can to be able to support all of our children. Therefore, this WRAP concept. We know that our population of homeless students is increasing and has steadily increased over the years. Last year, we had more than ever, and we don't know what can be done quite yet to slow that down or to send it in the other direction. But for now, we know we have young people who need help getting uniforms, need help getting clothing to wear to school, need help with shoes and school supplies, need help with transportation, need help with figuring out housing. Where is my child going to sleep tonight? And we want to do that for that population of students. Therefore, we want to create more wraparound services. The WRAP is what we are officially calling it. In addition to that, we know that our kids are tapping into employment, enlistment, and enrollment. And so we want to expand opportunities to meet the demands of our families, of our children. So we plan to do that. We have particular programming in our school district around Montessori education. And we're not always able to get every sixth grade Montessori student either on the west side at Parker Woods Montessori, Gamble Montessori, or Dater Montessori. We're not able to get all of those students in those seats at the high school level. We want to change that. The same is true on the east side. Our Sands Montessori sixth graders, Pleasant Ridge Montessori sixth graders, and our North Avondale Montessori sixth graders. We want to be able to get them a seat in a Montessori setting for the 7th grade and to continue through his high school children if that is what they and their families want. We believe this provides us a way to do it. Is it something different? It's absolutely something different. But for all of the many reasons we know all of these types of programs benefit young people, if there's a way for us to do more, that's what Cincinnati Public Schools wants to do. We want to be, and we will be, and we are here for kids. And that is the biggest driver of the decisions that we make.
Thank you very much, Superintendent, both for the passion and for the work that you're doing for all of our students. We're going to try and bring Julia over. Julia, you have an older version of Zoom. So we're going to try to click the allow you to talk and ask questions because it seems it's not bringing you over. So Julia, go ahead and you can unmute your microphone if you have any questions for the superintendent. All right, while we wait for Julia, Julia, you can unmute your microphone at any time. You have your hand raised, and we'll continue to take your questions. So while we're waiting for that, Superintendent, we had a great conversation or a couple of moments during one of our last open office sessions about the wrap and about the Yonder pouches and how people were donating, board games and boards to schools. And I think sometimes there's a misconception to knowing that, there are useful things that you can do in your community schools and with the wrap. You want to talk a little about that, how the district.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. So Yonder Pouches actually started with Dr. Jennifer Williams at Hughes STEM High School last school year. She piloted them on her own. And of course, there was some pushback, some concern initially. Parents really wanted to know how they would be able to get in touch with their child during the day. Some were very much concerned about maybe some medical needs our young people would have. But Dr. Williams set up a system where if a parent called the school and they needed to speak to their child, they were allowed absolutely to speak to the child. And so Dr. Williams gave several suggestions to our principals this current school year in terms of what worked at her school, what they may have needed to tweak. And so we overwhelmingly had a positive response to the rest of our high schools wanting to implement Yonder pouches as well. So our district made about a $500,000 investment using title dollars over the summer to purchase the Yonder pouches. Because it was summer, we were a little bit behind in getting this done. And Yonder is very proud of their product. They wanted to make sure that all of our high schools had very strong implementation plans because their name is on it. It's their brand. And so we've ensured that every school had an implementation plan that we felt comfortable could be done with fidelity. And Yonder wanted to make sure it could be done with fidelity. And so we purchased those Yonder pouches for every high school student to have in our buildings. And so far, so good. I don't really want to talk about it too much, but so far, so good. And I think things are going smoothly. I will tell you that the principal, Williams at Hughes, spoke very highly of it. Her teachers spoke highly of it. But when the students spoke highly, that's when we knew, yeah, we need to move forward on trying to make this happen for all of our schools. And so with the support of our school board, we did spend those dollars to invest in that way. And I'm very happy that we were to do that, able to do that. I've had very good positive feedback from parents thanking us for making that decision. We've had other school districts reach out to us to ask us about our decision and our implementation. The state of Ohio has a law on the books that all schools must have a policy, a procedure, a process. And we already had a policy from our school board, but we're just a little bit more ahead of the game as we usually are in terms of implementing strategies that help our schools cut down on the use of cell phones in our schools. So that I believe is going very well. In addition to that, Rob, you asked me about how people can help out. So Dr. Williams noticed that, okay, the phones are put away. We can get kids talking to one another once again during their lunch hour. And so several of us purchased board games to take over to the school that they can utilize. I've also seen board games utilized in other high schools. For example, Taft High School, no cell phones out at lunchtime. It was amazing. And instead, or in addition to, the young people were talking with each other, having conversations conversations, playing board games, and learning and growing in just a totally different way. So if there is someone interested in donating board games, I'm sure our high schools would love to have it. If you're interested in making a donation to Project Connect in Rebecca Beach, if you want to leave your name and contact, we're happy to get in touch with you that way. Or if you want to call the school district directly, you can feel free to do that as well. And we can definitely point you in the right direction. If you have new clothing, new uniforms, new shoes, toiletry items, grooming items, school supplies, we're happy to have a conversation with you, and we appreciate your generosity.
Thank you very much, Superintendent, for sharing that. All right, we are in the last 15 minutes of our open office growth discussion with Superintendent Shauna Murphy. We're so glad everyone's been chiming in and joining us. If you're new to the live today, if you have a question, you can leave it in the comment and we will ask the superintendent. We've also left a link for you if you want to join Zoom and come on over and interact with us on Zoom. We'd love to have you do that as well and ask your questions directly. So many formats, and it's really exactly that. It's open office hours for you to be able to ask the superintendent questions focused around the growth plan. But if you have other questions as well, the superintendent has been wonderful to just grab them up and do her best to answer them. And if not, she's been trying to make sure that you get to the right person so we can take care of you. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, superintendent, and doing this.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm happy to do this, happy to talk about this work, and happy to hear from the public. We want, and I can't say enough how much we appreciate you taking the time today and other times that you've taken to support our schools, our school district. This administration is happy and is here to serve. But in order to do this and do this well, we need you. Quite frankly, we need you. This isn't about any one particular person. This plan is in response to multiple years of watching things happen in our school districts, or quite frankly, not happen. And we believe that we can keep waiting for tomorrow, or we can start today. And so we would like to start today. We would like to, I don't mean that literally, we would like to see things happen that are in the best interest of our kids around being able to get more students the type of instruction, the type of classroom that they desire to have.
Thank you so much. We do have a shout out. The Urban League of Greater Southwest Ohio says, "We love Dr. Jen Williams."
Yeah.
So shout out to Dr. Williams. So.
Yes, Dr. Jen Williams is extremely creative, very passionate. She works long, hard hours. I think sometimes we forget how human our principals are. They do have families of their own to take care of, but they come in every day, head down, sleeves rolled up, ready to go. So we appreciate Dr. Williams. We appreciate all of our principals. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy job. It is a very challenging job because we take it seriously and we know how important it is to take care of the needs of our young people. And we want our community to be strong. We want our community to continue to thrive and to be the model that other communities look towards in terms of how do you problem solve? How do you get this done? How do you think creatively about the challenges that we have? It can be done. Sometimes the answer could be challenging to deal with, to face, but oftentimes I found the answer to our situations, our concerns are right there in the room. If we could just simply come together and sometimes agree to disagree, sometimes it'll go left, sometimes it'll go right, but we always come back centered and ready to work hard for the young people of this community.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. We have our next question on Facebook. And even if you feel like a question has been asked in the past, this is open office hours. It's not designed to have a format. So if you want to re-ask a question or you feel like a question may have already been asked, please feel free to ask. If you want to hear an answer from the superintendent, we're happy to continue with that engagement. We know that these are a little bit open-ended. So, all right, our next question is, can you talk more about the plan with Metro about possibly moving the 7th and 8th graders to the Kennedy Heights area? Currently, You have a school in the central area of the east side, and now you're moving them to the upper east side of the city. For many of our children, this will be a drastic change for transportation.
So I will tell you that since I've started, Metro has been an amazing partner coming to the table with us. Anytime that we've brought a concern, whether it is, we think a bus might be running a little bit late, or it's not coming fast enough, or a bus is overcrowded, they have agreed to take a look at every single situation and make adjustments with and for us. And I definitely appreciate the leadership at Metro. And so what we're also looking at, we have shared at a high level the growth plan in terms of looking at the corridor model. Excuse me. One thing I think can come out of this model is that we can have fewer students at transit centers. I know that that has been a concern from the community and the city. Um, and I think that this can help alleviate it because it should reduce the number of transfers needed. Last week, we had a call from someone, I believe in the Mount Washington area, I believe, that maybe expressed some concern about transitioning to Kennedy Heights. I'm sorry. And that parent expressed concerns about the student needing to maybe take multiple buses, and maybe they said 3. I don't want to get it wrong. So that was one thing of many that I wrote down. I took back to our transportation team to look at and have been told and assured that we will work on setting up a system where no more than one transfer, which is what we currently have, will be needed. So I appreciate that question. And if there is something specific to your need about Metro, please, please, please let me know and we will address it.
Thank you, Superintendent. I think part of that is that we're still in discussion plans, so we haven't torn up our transportation plans for the district as of now and rework them. So that is part of the process if decisions are made moving forward.
That's
So
correct.
so if people are hearing, and we think we've noticed a little bit of this on Facebook and through the open office, that people have been making assumption or things have been shared with them where they think they know how their students are going to ride next year when we yet don't know either. And so
No, we have not worked deeply on the transportation plan. That is something we do every year, but we don't have that level of detail at this point.
thank you, Superintendent. All right, we have a few minutes left here. We appreciate you. Please feel free to chime in if you have any questions on Facebook in the comments. We will ask the superintendent. You can join us via Zoom for the next 10 minutes. Superintendent, can you talk a little bit about, we talk a lot about the families and the students. Can we talk a little bit about phase 2 and how it might affect teachers or what teachers might expect from it?
Sure. Great question. So with the creation of middle schools in particular, we will be making sure that the teachers are properly licensed and certified. So there will be a shift. So right now we have a lot of buildings that are grades 7 through 12. And the proposal would say that those 7th and 8th graders would move to become junior highs. So those are the rising 7th graders, incoming 6th graders. Okay. Those who will be 7th and 8th graders next year. And it clearly will need the teachers to be able to help us with this. And so there will have to be some shifting of teachers from their current placements if they are in a 7 to 12 building in order to make this happen. We do have on the table a proposal for middle schools. And so middle schools, we have some that are ranging grades 6 to 8 and others 5 to 8. It just kind of depends on the neighborhood. And so that proper licensure will need to take place as well. So we will continue to work on making sure that we have highly qualified teachers instructing our young people, that we have teachers with proper licensure. And I do believe that we have that, and we will be able to successfully move forward with the very best teacher core available to your child.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. We greatly appreciate it. We do have a comment. This is a comment, a follow-up from the question about transportation and Metro. It says Mount Washington will be 3 transfers in 1.5 hours, is the comment.
So yes, so maybe that was kind of what came up last time, maybe. Again, I went ahead and sent that question to our Chief Operation Officer to look into. Again, while we have not ironed out completely the Metro plan for next year, I did ask them to go ahead and ask about the time it would take or what the route would be. And we have been told that they would work with us very hard to make sure that there was one transfer, which is what we have in place right now. So even if it doesn't exist right now, based on what you know, the other thing that happens as parents begin to look at their routes, this generally is a June, July piece. They will change because it depends on what date you put in. So for example, a parent may be putting in July 1st. And looking for the route. Well, that may not be the same and probably is not, and we found it to not be if you put in August the 20th, for example, after we would have started school. So I ask that you, for your patience on the transportation piece, that's a different level of work, a different area of work, and I believe that we can make things work efficiently and safely for our young people getting to and from school.
Superintendent, thank you again for another wonderful open office. We at this time do not have any further questions. I think first I'll say thank you, one, for your passion and all the love you show our students every day and the hard work. We really deeply do appreciate it, and you taking the time to do these types of events. So
Again,
um,
Rob, I could not do it without you. I could not do it without our communications team. If there are any other Cincinnati Public School team members on this call, I respect you and I appreciate you for what you bring to the table every single day. Thank you for being here. This is absolutely the best school district ever. And we will continue to work together. We will continue to grow and build on our culture and build instructionally and academically so that we put the best product in front of our young people every single day. I'm appreciative to our public for giving me an opportunity to do this work and to talk to you today. You didn't have to join in, but you did, and we don't take that for granted. We don't take that lightly. And this does not have to be the end. If you have any additional questions, there are more open office dates available. There are additional times where we will be in the community. And if neither of those work for you, you can simply email me or call the school district and we will get an answer or response to your question, to your comment.
thank you very much, Superintendent. We have one last comment. That's about, again, the Mount Washington and transportation. She just said, thank you. Same concern, but a different parent asking.
Yes,
And thank you
understood.
for answering the question. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for choosing Cincinnati Public Schools.
all right, Superintendent, I think that's a wrap for the day. Thank you so much. Is there
Well,
anything you
thank
want to leave
you.
us with?
No, I greatly appreciate you. We do have district-wide LSDMC meeting coming this Wednesday. You can join in person at the Burnett Avenue Education Center address, or you can join virtually. The link is on our district's website. We appreciate you.
Perfect. And if you want more information, more will be shared again tonight at the board meeting. So you're welcome to tune into the board meeting this evening if you want more information as it goes. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
perfect.
all right. Thank you, Superintendent, and everyone have a good night.
Thank you.